Before we get started, I'd like to take a motion to adjourn from executive session. May I have a first? Thank you, Lisa. May I have a second? Thank you, Bruce. All in favor? Thank you. All right, the board has returned from executive session. There were no actions taken. May I have a motion to open the public meeting? Lisa, thank you. Second, Heather. All in favor? Thank you. Please rise for the pledge of
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So tonight we continue the tradition of having student holiday performances at our December board meeting. This year we're fortunate to have performances from the Cold Spring Harbor Strings Ensemble, Brass Ensemble, and Chamber Singers. Thank you for the student, directors, and to Mr. Jim Graneri for organizing.
Holly Jolly Christmas. One, two, three. We are now going to sing a few tunes for you. We have our chamber singers here tonight, as well as several members from our high school choir. We're going to ask that you all take yourself back for a moment. Imagine we are in Dickensian London, walking down snowy cobblestone lane as you hear the carolers coming up the lane with their cloaks and their top hats and bonnets. We're going to start with a piece by Gustav Holst, In the Bleak Midwinter. quick tunes for you. I was told about a tradition that had happened in the past. So anybody who has a set of keys and wants to join me on the bells is more than welcome to do so. Anybody who knows the lyrics to the next couple of tunes is more than welcome to join us. We're going to sing Deck the Hall for you.
Deck the halls with bells of holly.
And for those of you who may have seen Christmas with the Cranks, we're going to be channeling that really excited Christmas caroler energy this evening. We Wish You a Merry Christmas also has lyrics about demanding pudding. So you're going to hear us demand for pudding, and by the end, hopefully we've gotten it. So here we go, singing We Wish You a Merry Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings to you wherever you are. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. Oh, bring us a biggie pudding. Oh, bring us a biggie pudding. Oh, bring us a biggie pudding and a cup of good cheer. Good tidings to you wherever you are. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring it right here. Good tidings to you wherever you are. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. That was wonderful. What a treat to have those sorts of performances. It was pointed out to me earlier that I'm dressed like a Barton Bella, but I will not sing for you tonight. If you love Pitch Perfect, you get the reference. Okay. I'm going to forego my president's report this evening because we have quite an agenda. I'm going to turn it over now to our superintendent.
Thank you, Ms. Willian. Good evening, members of the Board of Education, staff, and community members. Welcome to the December 10th. Okay. We're going to call Mr. Granieri, you're here? Sorry, we're going to present the student recognitions to 3 of our students for the selection to the 2024 NISMA All-State Performance Ensembles. Thank you. Congratulations to all of you. See them back there, okay. We need Catherine too. Would you all come down? Would you come on down, please? And Catherine, if she's in the house too, I think she was just performing. She's coming. Come on, Catherine. Yep, you. Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's my distinct honor to recognize 3 exceptional student musicians from our high school who have achieved an incredible milestone in their musical journeys. This year, 2 of our students, Zoe Abelson and Amelia Saladino, were selected as alternates for the prestigious NISMA All-State Mixed Chorus, and Catherine Ziegler was chosen as an alternate for All-State Orchestra. The All-State Festival is one of the highest honors a young musician in New York State can achieve. The selection process is rigorous and competitive, involving thousands of students who audition each year. To be chosen as an alternate is a testament to their exceptional talent, commitment, and artistry. These students have not only dedicated countless hours to refining their craft, but have also demonstrated the resilience, discipline, and passion that music education instills in young people. They represent the excellence of our music program and embody the values we strive to nurture in all our students. On behalf of the music department and the entire Cold Spring Harbor community, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to these outstanding musicians. Zoe, Amelia, and Catherine, you have made us incredibly proud, and we look forward to all that you will continue to achieve. Please join me in celebrating their remarkable accomplishments tonight.
Staff and community members, welcome to the December 10th meeting of the Board of Education. First, I want to send my heartfelt thanks to the string ensemble, brass ensemble, and chamber singers who performed earlier this evening. Their performances showcase an incredible talent and dedication of our students in the arts. It is always a privilege to witness the results of their hard work and the guidance of their teachers. This time of the year serves as a reminder of how fortunate we are here in Cold Spring Harbor, surrounded by such wonderful students, families, and community members. Over the past month, our students demonstrated the spirit of giving by collecting non-perishable food donations to support those in need. Many of these donations were distributed to the Helping Hands Rescue Mission of Huntington Station and to the Parish Outreach Food Pantry of St. Patrick's Church in Huntington. Their efforts make a difference in the lives of others, and I'm proud of their commitment to our local community. Since the last meeting, we also celebrated 2 National Honor Society ceremonies. The National Arts Honor Society showcased their tremendous achievements, including their spectacular artwork. We inducted 59 students into the Honor Society, recognizing their excellence in academics, leadership, service, and character. The event was highlighted with a CSH alum from 2009, Adam Poloyan, who is an artist and illustrator now living in California. Additionally, we held a National World Honor Language Society induction ceremony led by a World Language Department Chairperson, Kristen Wilkins, and her team. The ceremony honored 83 students for their achievements in French and Spanish. The event's keynote speaker, Alex LaCastro, from the class of 2017, congratulations to all of our inductees on this prestigious accomplishment. December is always an exciting and busy month, filled with opportunities to celebrate our students, dedication, and work. Last week, on December 4th, the junior high concert took place here in the PAC, wowing the audience with outstanding musical performances. Later this week, on December 12th, the Lloyd Harper School will host its 5th and 6th grade concert here in the PAC, 7 p.m. Westside School will host their 5th grade and 6th grade concert on December 17th, also here in the PAC at 7 p.m. And finally, we conclude our Windsor concert series with their senior high concert and art exhibition on December 19th, again here at 7 p.m. in the PAC. These events are always a wonderful opportunity for families and community members to experience the excellent talents of our students. I also want to take a moment today to thank Mr. Bernieri and his staff, as well as Zoe, Amelia, and Catherine for their outstanding contributions. Your hard work and dedication are truly appreciated. Congratulations on your dismal performances. Jobs well done. Next week, Cold Spring Harbor will host 41 Long Island school districts for our annual AP Collegial Circles event on December 16th and 17th. This event will bring together over 110 teachers from across Long Island to collaborate, share insights, and learn from one another about teaching advanced placement courses. This is a prime example of districts working together to enhance their skills and improve teaching and learning. Teachers will have the opportunity to exchange strategies, explore best practices, and bring back valuable tools to the home districts. Each district can then tailor these ideas to align with their unique needs and priorities, empowering educators to make decisions that best serve their students. Events like this highlight the power of local collaboration and local decision-making in fostering educational excellence. As we reflect on this month of giving and gratitude, I encourage everyone to take care of themselves and, if possible, take care of someone in need. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
So each meeting we hear from students from different buildings about all the wonderful events going on in their locations. Tonight, we are pleased to welcome our students from the junior, senior high school.
Good evening, and thank you for having us here. I'm Antonis, president of the student government, and with me today, I have my vice president, Ava Coco, my secretary, Cameron Brown, and our treasurer, Diane Fair, playing basketball right now. And then I'd also like to introduce the officers of the class of 2028. We have President Ellie Kirchberger, Vice President Charlie Rice, Treasurer Sophie Canzanieri, and Secretary Leah Mendelson. We'd also like to ask you to please move to the front row so you can see our slideshow we put together. Tonight, we decided to surprise you with some of the thousands of pictures from Segora's camera to take you on a short tour of the highlights from the year so far. Enjoy as we tell you the story behind them. Back in the summer, we had our lacrosse parade celebrating both the boys and girls lacrosse teams for both bringing home a state championship. Shout out to Coach Bond and Coach Castellane. At the parade, alumni, elementary kids, parents, high school students, and teachers all came together to cheer on the players. Also in the summer, we had 7th grade orientation where the new kids became accustomed to their new school. The older siblings guided them through the halls and also guided them through the first day. For the seniors, our year started early in the morning with senior sunrise. Although a little cloudy, the senior class was determined to make the best of it and enjoy the beginning of the end of our journey at Cold Spring Harbor. Our fall sports this year started not only in the fields, but also in the classrooms and hallways. With the Remembrance Bowl, the whole week we were learning about World War II and a game that was never played. Each grade was taught lessons about World War II and all subjects related to General Patton. For example, roses were created in Spanish classes, and Miss G taught her students that ice cream was considered a crucial morale factor in World War II. Students also had the honor to hear Miss Patton talk about her grandfather, as well as other guests who taught us a part of history that should not be forgotten. Cold Spring Harbor players had the opportunity to share this with players from Island Trees. We also celebrated homecoming on the same day as the Remembrance Bowl, with Spirit Week leading up to this day, with days like Pajama Day and USA Tribute Day, all leading up to the pep rally, where we had teams dressing up as characters from Pitch Perfect, as well as the Backstreet Boys. Before this week, we had pasta night, where we created the class and sports banners. Personally, I think the senior class banner and field hockey had the best one, but that's just my opinion. These events are just some of the ways our school shows togetherness, community, and family.
And then for fall sports, girls soccer and girls swimming had historic seasons. Both teams made it to state finals, creating new records for Cold Spring Harbor High School. Field hockey, volleyball, boys soccer, girls tennis, cheerleading, football, and boys golf all had great seasons as well. At almost every Cold Spring Harbor game, one of our leading singers sang the national anthem. Halloween this year was special for us seniors when teachers and students dressed up to spread school spirit. My costume was my vision. Last Friday, students and faculty wore blue and gold to commemorate Whoever season. For fall drama, the fall play Hamlet was a great success and coincided with the current AP Lit reading curriculum. We had the introduction ceremonies for the Music Triumph Society, National Art Honor Society, and World Language Society this past week, as well as the junior high winter concert. Provided by Natural Helpers, the Spanish Club, and the Canasta family. Traditional Spanish food was donated to the Helping Hands Foundation.
15 student athletes signed their commitment to colleges this year, 1 from wrestling, 4 from boys lacrosse, 1 boys soccer, 2 girls crew, 6 girls lacrosse, and 1 from track. All clubs in the junior high and high school are working on their activities at full speed. To mention a few, Animal Rescue Club had a rescue dog come in for their meeting. CSH Sports Media Club has been raising the spirit for sports through their graphics and photos on Instagram. Mono UN is working hard for their trip to Philadelphia. Locks of Love has created cards for children in the hospital. The Passion Club is working on various sewing projects and will be working on a recycling project. The Baking Club will be baking a holiday treat next week. International Club is getting organized for their annual event. National Honor Society will be hosting the senior dinner before the dress rehearsal of a musical. All board members are invited. Student government is raising money for dinners that will be delivered to the homeless. We are also organizing the dodgeball tournament, which will occur at the end of winter sports. Lastly, December Spirit Week is coming up from the Pep Club, as well as the Ronald McDonald House fundraiser to help families in need. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, students. That was wonderful. I already laughed, but that was very wonderful. Thank you so much. Let them know, Mrs. G, we loved it. That was amazing. Segura, thank you for all of those pictures. It was so fun to see them. So much happened this fall. Thank you. I'm going to walk on, or take a motion to walk on a resolution, the resolution authorizing the commencement of Article 78 regarding regionalization. May I have a first to walk this on, please? Heather? May I have a second? Kate? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, I'm going to now read the resolution. It's a little long. Okay, so whereas on December 9th and December 10th, this is the resolution authorizing the commencement of Article 78 regarding regionalization. Whereas on December 9th and 2024, December 10th, 2024, the New York State Board of Regents considered and adopted the final rule adding Part 124 and Subpart 124-2 to Subchapter E of the Regulations of the Commissioner of Education relating to the regionalization plans, the rule, and whereas according to NYSED, the rule will become effective as of December 24th, 2024, and whereas the rule requires school districts to participate in the regionalization planning process, which includes, among other things, school districts submitting a strength and needs tool on a form prescribed by the commissioner and convenings with the district superintendents and stakeholders, and whereas the rule authorizes school districts to elect not to participate in the development of a regionalization plan if it so elects the superintendent of a school district after consultation with their board shall communicate the district's election in writing to the Department Office of Education Policy, 89 Washington Avenue, Education Building, Room 2M, Albany, New York, 11234. The deadline for submission for such letter shall be January 15th, 2025, and every 10 years thereafter. And whereas the superintendent has consulted with the Board of Education and the Board of Education wishes to formally opt out of participating in the development of the regionalization plans, and whereas the school district's election is not an action as defined in 6 NYC RR 617.2, and therefore no further secra review is required. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education, on behalf of the district, hereby elects not to participate in the development of a regionalization plan. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education elects not to submit the strength and need tool to New York State Department of Education or engage in any regionalization planning or regionalization implementation. Be it further resolved that the superintendent is authorized to send a letter setting forth the Board of Education's election to opt out of the development of a regionalization plan and reserving all of the school district's rights and remedies. Be it finally resolved that the superintendent shall send a letter to the New York State Education Department Office of Education Policy, 89 Washington Avenue, Education Building, Room 2M, Albany, New York, 11234, or any other address the New York State Education Department designates, so that it is received by at that or those addresses on or before January 15th, 2025. So may I have a motion to accept this resolution? Bruce, second. Kate, any questions? Discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to take a motion to walk on another resolution. May I have a motion to walk on a resolution to authorize the superintendent of school to sign a letter of agreement with the Attorney General's office? May I have a first? Kate? May I have a second? Heather? Any questions? All in favor? Okay, now I will read this resolution. Be it hereby resolved that the Board of Education of the Cold Spring Harbor Central School District accepts the terms of the letter agreement dated December 10th, 2024 with the Office of the New York State Attorney General. And be it further resolved that the Board of Education authorizes the Superintendent of Schools to sign the letter of agreement on the board's behalf. So now I need to take a motion to vote for this. So do I have any votes in favor of this resolution? Any discussion? Is anyone opposed to this resolution? All are opposed. Thank you. I'm now going to read a statement on behalf of the board. By letter dated on July 5th, 2024, the New York State Attorney General's office contacted the district regarding the district's policies and procedures governing student enrollment. Since that initial contact, the district, through its legal counsel, has engaged in an interactive and open dialogue with the OAG to demonstrate its overall compliance with admission regulations and its unwavering commitment to the education of students, the students of Cold Spring Harbor. Revised Policy 5150-R reflects the policy committee's efforts to adopt changes requested by the OAG. Despite the district's obvious good faith efforts in working with the OAG for the past several months, the OAG is demanding that the board sign a letter agreement which would prohibit the district from making any changes to its enrollment website or registration documents for a period of 2 years without the OAG approval. In addition, it has been ominously communicated to the board that if we do not enter into this agreement, the Attorney General's office will seek, quote unquote, further action. While the district always seeks to have a productive relationship with state agencies such as the OAG, we cannot in good conscience consent to any agreement that would forfeit the board's local control over the district. We were elected by the people of this district to govern the district, not to turn that responsibility over to the Attorney General. Consequently, the board cannot enter into this proposed agreement. Thank you. So we are now moving into our discussion portion. We're going to a discussion from John Grillo, our school district architect, regarding West Side bathrooms.
Bring you up to date as to where we are with this last round of bond issue projects as well as the 21-22 capital projects that took place this summer. Really quickly, we'll go through each building. At the Lloyd Harbor Elementary School, this phase of the bond included the Little Theater renovation, which included air conditioning in the Little Theater, as well as the cooling of the cafeteria. The equipment is all on site. By the time we got it, school was already underway, and it's scheduled to be installed over the Christmas break. There was also another work location there, which is I think 12 or 13 different work locations for bathrooms, single stall and multi-stall bathrooms. Those bids came in higher than anticipated. So one of the thought processes would be break those down on a priority basis and rebid those in the future. From the 21-22 capital, these are all HVAC related projects which came out of post-COVID. The work at Lloyd Harbor is all complete. We're in the punch list phase there. At Goose Hill, there were no bond projects at this phase. This was just 21-22 capital. We put the air conditioning in the community room and the speech office. That's in the punch list phase. And then we also had a third work location, administrative offices. We are going to go now rebid that on a room-by-room basis. Some of the work was done internally. We don't have to do some of the work that we originally thought we had to address, and we could rebid that. And like I said, this phase of the bond, there were no projects this summer. The building that we're in now, One of the phases of the project was to renovate the Performing Arts Center here with some general construction work, a lot of acoustics and lighting. The budget up there was $825,000, and the original bids came in at about $1.16 million. I had recommended that we reject these bids and we take advantage of cooperative bids, which is another means to reach out to vendors. We gave the same scope to different vendors, and we wound up coming in with a total award of $809,000, which is actually $16,000 under budget. So we're able to save a few $100,000 on that phase of the project. West side, we had two. We had bond projects and we had capital projects. The 4 work locations for the bond projects this summer. The first was the renovation of the kitchen and the cafeteria. That was all the finishes and the air conditioning of the cafeteria, the flooring, the ceiling, the lighting. And then we took a classroom, which was up against the existing kitchen. We reduced that in size and we framed out for the new walk-in refrigerator freezer. We opened bids for the kitchen equipment last week. The bids came in very, very high. I'm now working with 2 different vendors who are also on a cooperative bid to see if we could bring that kitchen equipment number down lower. And I'll get back to Joe within the next day or so. At the time, there was 3 sets of bathrooms, going work location 2, 3, and 4. Although we were under budget on the entire package, in January I decided let's not be over budget on any school for now. So we did the work of work location 1, which is the kitchen, work location 3, and work location 4, and we held off on work location 2. Later in the spring, I had a meeting with the superintendent, and I was directed to move forward with work location 2 bathrooms. I had said that the only way to do that, because the board had already awarded the project, would be a change order. So I reached out to the 4 contractors who originally bid on the project. They were willing to hold their number, and then we awarded the change order for the 4 trades: GC, plumbing, mechanical, and electrical. So the bids that were originally received and opened under a sealed envelope in January were the same bids that they were holding their price on in May. And then we had some small HVAC work as part of the 21-22 capital. That work is completed and in the final punch list phase. This is the slide we showed back in January. These are all of the projects that are remaining as part of the bond referendum. To date, there's about $11,700,000 left. Any project that has an asterisk next to it was already submitted to the State Education Department and has been approved. We would just need direction from the Board of Education as to which projects they would like to move forward on. One, I would like to just bring to your attention, because I know we had some issues with the utility company and increasing fees coming to the buildings. With the way the bond was laid out, the fuel oil tank that fed 2 of the boiler rooms at the high school was literally located where the science room addition was going to go. So as part of the whole bond, the plan was to pull out that fuel oil tank, put in a temporary tank, run the new gas to the building, and then we could get rid of the oil tank. And when we went back out to National Grid and they came back with a much higher gas price number, we put that on the back burner. But right now we still have just a temporary tank feeding the boiler room. So we're really filling that fuel oil tank up almost every 2 or 3 days during the winter. So that's something we may want to look at, to revisit the gas piece so we can get rid of the temporary or the smaller fuel oil tank. We would then be able to run gas to all of the boiler rooms, and we can get rid of all the oil throughout the district, throughout the building, and then you would be just running on gas. But again, those are the projects that are still available, and the available funds as of June 24th, and that was from the business office. Same thing with 21-22 capital. The total recommended award was $766,000, and the budget was $1.1. We have about $368,000 where we can do more HVAC-related projects that came from that 21, 22. If you remember, you're limited to the scope of the work based on what the voters approved. So we're really limited on HVAC work from the funds in 21, 22. So really the next steps would be prioritizing the rest of the bond projects and either rebid them and or redesign and submit to the State Education Department. And just to note, the 24-25 capital reserve, which was the air conditioning and the electrical panels, the outlets, that's currently at the State Education Department waiting review. And there was some HVAC work, some boiler room work that we were looking to get done at West Side and Lloyd Harbor. There were additional funds in the 18-19 transfer to capital that we were using. We did the drawings for those. Those projects are also up at the State Education Department waiting approval, and then all of this work will take place in the summer of 25. So I know there's been some discussion about how expensive things are, so I just wanted to remind everybody, because we are a public works entity, we are bound by New York State prevailing wage, and I took a look at the New York State Labor Department wage rates that are required to be issued and printed in all of our specifications. And the full-time trades for these projects this summer, the carpenters paid $135 an hour, the plumbers $140, HVAC mechanic is $150, and electrician can be anywhere between $160 and $165 an hour. And when they go to submit their payment rec, they have to provide certified payroll. And if they falsify their payroll, it used to be a misdemeanor, but now it is a felony. There's also insurance requirements that NYSER gives us to put into the specifications, as well as bonds for a bid bond, a performance bond, and a labor and material bond. And this was a little hard to read. This was just a breakdown. Joe had said there was some questions about the change order and the cost. This was a breakdown of where the numbers came from for the general construction on one of the work locations. And again, I know it's hard to read, but the bid they provided was $54,000 for the labor and the material to complete the work. They then added a 10% overhead of $5,400, a profit of $3,000, and a bond charge of another $1,200, and that came to the $6,307. What we also,
Which location is it?
that's one location too. That's the change order one that was bid in January but wasn't awarded until May.
And what's work location two? I don't know what work location
Two.
What does that mean?
That's the two pair of bathrooms at West Side.
So both bathrooms cost that?
Correct.
Both bathrooms?
Yes.
And you had a signed change order in May for that?
I got the approval from the superintendent. I wrote the change orders. We got them signed by the contractors. They were mailed to the district. They were signed by the district, sent to me, and then they were sent to the State Education Department.
They were signed by the district in May?
In whenever they were signed. So when I wrote them and submitted them, I don't know when they got onto the board agenda.
Well, it says here that they were approved in May by the board in your presentation. Is that accurate?
They were approved by the superintendent gave me direction to move forward with those.
Okay, so it's different than what it says in the presentation.
Where does it say that?
Not originally awarded, directed to move forward, change order at meeting in May.
Yes.
You wrote that.
Yes. I had a meeting with the superintendent and the director of facilities in May, and I was
But
directed to move forward.
not at the board meeting in May?
No.
Okay, thank you. Just clarifying. Thank you.
So the two bathrooms are 60, you divide that by two, and that's approximately the cost of each one?
Correct. But if you look at that and then you look below, all of the, there's about $24,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is for one trade?
That's the one trade.
What trade is it?
That's the GC.
the GC. And I'm new, I'm the newest one, so I'm
Yep,
trying to
absolutely.
understand. What does that mean for the GC? Did that mean, is that Park East or?
No, so Park East is the construction manager who oversees all the construction. But because all of the bids that we bid out in January, it's over $1.5 million, we have to abide by the Wicks law, which means we have to have 4 prime trades. We have GC, who does the brick and the mortar and the tile and the sheetrock and the demo and the asbestos. You'll have a plumbing contractor prime, an HVAC prime, which would do ventilation and exhaust, and then an electrical contractor, which would do the lighting and the wiring and the fire alarm.
That's helpful. So this is for, then this 63.7 is for, what was that again? The
General contractor.
Yeah, but which services again?
J&H was the name of the contract.
No, I mean, what are they, is this for tile, demo?
He did all, so he does all of the demo. So if you look down low, we had 2 carpenters, 28 hours at $135 an hour. And 1 carpenter doing the backer board, the thin set, the primer, 32 hours. Then the metal stud, the track. They broke it down by subcontractor through the general construction. But when you go down the whole thing and you look at that $63,000, $24,000 of it is not even hammer and nails. It's bonds, it's insurance, it's overhead, it's punch list, it's closeout, it's general conditions. So now you're down at 30, right up the top, you're down at $38,000 for the 2 bathrooms, $19,000 a bathroom. We had 2 new doors put in with all new hardware. Door and hardware and installed is $4,000 now these days. I think we paid $5,000 a door when we did all of the doors throughout the district right before and during COVID with the Salto system and the vision panels. So it comes out to about, in terms of actual labor, it's about $15,000 a bathroom to do the tile, the sheetrock, the demo, the asbestos removal.
Right, that's what I'm trying to get at. I want to break down the 4 trades and figure out, and you're saying these bond costs, et cetera, those are fixed, and that's a percentage of the job? How does that, how do those numbers?
The bonds are fixed numbers. It has to be, they need a performance bond and a labor and material bond to cover 100% the cost of the project. And then on the insurance side, NYSER provides the insurance documentation that goes into our spec book, and they have a stipulation, if the total cost of the project is over $1 million, NYSER wants the contractor to carry a $10 million policy, and if it's under $1 million, a $5 million policy. And then NYSER also asks that the contractor provide a separate OCP policy, which is kind of another umbrella on top of the umbrella to cover any costs that aren't covered by your general liability policy.
So if the cost of the work was less, the bond cost would be lower, et cetera? It fluctuates with the cost of the project?
Correct. Yeah, the bond is going to be based on the total cost. So in this case, J&H had a bond for everything at Westside, the kitchen, the cafeteria, and the 3 sets of bathrooms. So his bond, whatever his total cost was.
This was prorated for this bathroom, you're saying this figure?
This is his number of what the bond increased to go from whatever the number was. He went from, his original bid was $423,000. It got up to $63,000, which was the cost of the bathroom, the additional bathrooms. So to go from $424 to $488, the bonding company charged him 2% increase.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking is I'm trying to break it down. So this was the portion, you said he did other work, this was the portion prorated to these 2 bathrooms, this portion of the bond. There was a bigger bond charge, but you broke it down prorated, or there's no bond charge on the kitchen per se?
No, there's a bond charge on the kitchen, so if you look at his original payment rec, which was $424,000, because when he gave us his initial breakdown, he didn't think we were moving forward with court location 2. So his bonds, his insurance are based on his original bid that was awarded by the board in January, which was $424,000. When you add a change order to a project, the wording in the general conditions allows the contractor to increase their bond cost by 2%.
If the project wasn't done, what are we changing? That's, you said this is a change order. Change from what?
Well, it wasn't awarded originally in January. We
Right.
didn't award the work.
It was rejected, is that correct?
We rejected the work at that time. We
The
didn't want
board
to go over
rejected, the board rejected it, yes.
it. In January, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, based on my recommendation, let it not move forward.
How are you paid through this process?
So it's always been, since I've been here in '98, it's based on a percentage of construction cost. So my fee is a 5% construction cost, which is lower or standard than any of the other firms out there. So if the work gets done, I get 5%. If it doesn't get done, then in the language in the contract, if we go to get SED approval, and then the board says we're not going to do this project, I get paid up to a certain point and am not allowed to bill any work, going further, if we decided not to do that project.
Okay, I have another question. So this was 2 out of 6 bathrooms, right? What was the cost of the other bathrooms?
The other bathroom, work location 3, was the same exact price, $63,700. Work location 4, which were bigger bathrooms, were,
By like a few inches, I think, right?
yeah, but the cost bid in January was the same price. The work location 4, which was the bigger bathrooms, was bid at $97,000, and then the kitchen was $262,000.
I'm asking for a breakdown per bathroom.
Yeah, so per
So
bathroom,
we paid $63,000 for one bathroom, are you saying?
so each, work location 2, 3, and 4 were each for a pair of bathrooms. That's how it was bid out. So work location 2 was 2 bathrooms
Right.
that were in back-to-back classrooms. Work location 3 was the same set of bathrooms directly above those, 2. And work location 4 were bathrooms across the hall, I was directly off the hall, they were a little bit bigger. Those were work location 4. So 3 locations, 6 total bathrooms.
So you get 5% of the cost of a project. And again, I'm new, so the district comes to you and says, we need to renovate, let's just take the 2 bathrooms, the 111, 112. Do we ask you to design a bathroom in a certain price range, or we just do, what parameters do we give you as the architect?
So it's very different, the public side from the private side. I mean, in the public side, you kind of do stuff backwards.
Okay.
So after the bond of 2004, when it was finished, we did the bond of 2000 and 2004, 2005, we brought back the facilities committee, and we met in the mornings probably 4 times a year. Superintendent, business official, director of facilities, Mark Marley's at the time, myself, and 3 board members. And the board at the time established a capital reserve, and every year that capital reserve was funded. And Mark and I would use the building condition survey to look at the nuts and bolts type projects. And then we would meet with the building principals to see if there were any programmatic or educational projects that we may want to put into this coming year's capital reserve. From there, I would, based on the scope of work that we discussed, I would break them out in terms of budget appropriation, and I would give you guys a budget. If it needed a little sketch, we would do a sketch. And Mark and I always came back with more money than it was going to be in the capital reserve. We went through project by project, and ultimately the board facilities committee made a recommendation. We want to do these 6 or 7 projects in this coming May's capital reserve, and it was $1.2 million.
So we don't give you direction. You're kind of figuring this out and then coming to us for a number and saying this is the budget, and then you build a cushion in, and then we vote on it. Is that how it works?
It's really a give and take. I mean, we need a roof
Yeah.
on this section, it needs to meet the building code, it needs to have an R30, you want it 30 years, that's pretty straightforward. But when it's like programmatic and educational, I want the feedback from the end user. I want to sit with the art teacher or the science teacher, the family consumer science teacher, get the scope from them as to what their vision is, then come to the facilities committee or ultimately the board of ed and say, here's the plan, here's what we want to talk about, here's what we want to go forward with.
Do you ever show the board renderings
Of
or
course.
pictures?
Of course.
And then they look at it?
Uh-huh.
So the board saw the renderings of these refurbished bathrooms?
We
and
didn't
said
do a rendering
that
of
looks
a
great.
two-person bathroom. I mean, the big stuff, the sort of fields and the science wing and the STEM wing and the fitness center, we did renderings for all of the big stuff.
I don't think this was a two-person bathroom, was it?
Well, it's a two single stall bathrooms, I'm sorry, I keep calling
It's
it.
an individual bathroom,
Two single stall
one
bathrooms.
toilet
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
So you determine, based on your knowledge of years of experience, the tile's gonna cost around this, the hours, and when all's said and done, then you, based on that, you submit it, but there's no direction in terms of let's make this really nice or make this really sparse, like the bathrooms are pretty bare bones, and it comes out to about 1,800 a square foot, and if that's the going rate, then that's the going rate. So if we had, say, an independent architect design the same specs and hired subs to spec out that with all the bonds and everything else, within 10%, they're going to come to $53,000 a bathroom. You're very confident of that?
Yeah, because, I mean, when we broke down, and remember, you can't get private sector guys on.
I understand that. I'm saying apples to apples.
So
These numbers will hold up, you're saying?
So, I mean, if we look at work location 2, that's the one we're talking about, we received 5 bids from 5 GCs. The low bid was 63, the second one was 65, the next one was 77, and we had 2 bids of 104,000 and 124,000. That's when you say, and we were early, we were December to January, because we live in 9-week windows. People in December to January, you would think they're still hungry for work in the summer. But 124,000 for 2 4x6 bathrooms is just astronomical. And these are the bids we're dealing with. We can't go back to the low bidder and change scope. We can't negotiate. The only thing we can technically negotiate is we can say, hey, can you give us back a couple of dollars? Come in a little bit lower, maybe get it to 60,000. And then I've always seen that if the guy gives you, a little bit of a credit up front, he's going to find something broken down the line, he's going to try to make the money back for him.
Well, you talked about here how you went back and used cooperative bids because the first round of bids were too high. Did we go back and use cooperative bids on these bathrooms?
On these now,
No. Any reason why?
I was told to stop using cooperative bids.
Because why? You said here hundreds of 300, over $300,000, was it?
That was in January, and then I was told after that we really shouldn't be using cooperative bids. That's why I bid the kitchen equipment out originally, which we had just bid. And I don't think we would have gotten a cheaper price if you have a contractor working in the building literally next door or above and below. You're not going to get a cheaper price than the guys on site. I mean, if you want to get cooperative bids to do the 13 sets of bathrooms at Lloyd, we could by all means get a price. I mean, you could reduce the scope, which I don't recommend. You could just do tile floor and a sanitary cove and painted sheetrock walls in the bathrooms to save money.
Okay, and I just want to go through some of these invoices as well, because some of these invoices have line items. When I visited these bathrooms, I'm just not seeing it. So I'd like to do that, but I think we always want to go back and try to find the lowest price, right?
Sure.
I don't know why we wouldn't. And so you're confident, though, that these prices would hold up under scrutiny?
Scrutiny meaning?
If we had an architect design the exact same bathrooms and we had subs come in and do the exact same work, these prices are within 10% of industry norms?
If they're paying what's in the plans and they're paying what's in the specs and they're following all of the protocols, then
So, I mean, yeah, so if schools have to build bathrooms at $1,800 a square foot, then that's the going rate, I guess? That's the going rate?
And if you're building a multi-stall bathroom, it's gonna be cheaper, it's gonna be only $180 to $200 a bathroom for a multi-stall bathroom.
So I asked for the invoices for the upstairs, first, the main floor, west side, those bathrooms, and the low, the basement level, because those bathrooms are essentially the same. The prices should be essentially the same, correct? Or was there additional work?
There might have been more work if we had to run, do more electric, maybe an electric panel was tied to one location and not the other, or a shut-off valve was in one. I would have to go back and look item by item.
And how many bidders of the 4 trades are we getting? You said you got 5 for GC, that's a good number.
Yeah.
Typically, how many do we have for
We
each?
got 5 GC, 4 plumber, 7 mechanical, and only 2 electric.
And how often do the same vendors or the subs win the business? Because I asked for a list of the diversity of contractors that do work, I haven't gotten it yet.
So what we do is, obviously, the first step is once we decide on a project that's it's approved by the state, and then we go out to bid. We send a notice of bidders to the district, we select bid dates, the district advertises in whatever the board policy are for advertising in newspapers, whether it's Newsday or local news or whatever. We then put it onto our website, where people, they used to have to come into the office and we made 30 or 40 sets of plans and specs, they pick them up, there would be a tremendous amount of wasted paper. Now they download the plans and specs off of the website, and they bid there, and anybody can see them. We have other agencies I know that Construct Connect, some of these other construction data papers, that then they'll take our plans and put it on their website. So, I mean, we'll get a lot of times, we'll get people from out of state asking me about the projects.
Could we put on the screen what we got for 1,800 a square foot? I'd like to show everyone what these pictures look like. I know we have them. In the meantime,
Mark, let me just interrupt for a second. Joe, just so we understand too, so we have a complete understanding of the cost. So the 63,000 GC, that's for the 2 bathrooms, right? That's a general contractor cost. So then when you add the carpentry, the plumbing, the HVAC, the electrician, bottom line, what did each bathroom cost us approximately? So we have 6 bathrooms, what was the cost for each bathroom?
So I think the 2 bathrooms at work location 2 came in at $106,000 for work location 2.
So it was
Okay.
50-something a bathroom.
And is that what we're looking at now, John?
I don't know.
yes,
any pictures.
that's the
That's
bathroom.
the $50,000 bathroom?
So, we're not talking remote control Toto toilets. We're not talking towel warmers, radiant heat. We're talking unfinished heat elements or heat boxes, basic tile. This is bare bones, and this is 1,800 a square foot, and this is the best pricing we can get. Because, it's very important we spend our money wisely, obviously. And I'm new, and maybe I'm naive, but this seems awfully basic for 1,800 a square foot.
I can tell you that in some of these smaller, obviously the doors are not in yet, we're putting the fire alarm devices in tonight. I know in a neighboring district of yours, they use their maintenance crews to do these single stall bathrooms.
I was gonna ask that, so we could do it in-house, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we actually did that when Cold Spring Harbor Library moved out of Goose Hill, and we had the big empty space at Goose Hill. The district decided to hire, I don't know how they worked it out with civil service, they hired 3 mechanics, and those mechanics, their job, they were hired to build the 2 classrooms in that main office area and a little outer area of the Cold Spring Library. And it took them about 3 or 4 times the length of it would if you did it as a real project, but that's what they decided to do, and they did that, and at the end of the library, they got rid of the 3 mechanics and they moved on. But some of these smaller projects, to your point, Northport, who's the person we're talking about, they have a larger mechanic crew. They do a lot of these individual single stall bathrooms themselves,
So
in-house.
if we did it in-house, what would it have cost
A lot cheaper.
in your estimation?
A lot.
Did you ever tell the board, guys, you're wasting your money, do it in-house?
No, I mean, we tried it before, and we got rid of it. We didn't do it that way anymore.
Why?
I'm confused a little bit because you said earlier, I thought that you recommended to the board that we hold off on these bathrooms at the January. I rewatched the January meeting today too, and I'm just trying to figure out what you said.
Only because we had every school was under budget except for West Side, and the whole project was overall under budget. So instead of being over budget on West and under on the other three, I said, let's just stay under budget on all, and we'll deal with the next set of bathrooms in the future.
So it wasn't because you thought they were expensive for what we were getting? That was the
Everything
one
is
that
expensive.
recommended-
I received bids last week.
Just asking.
Yeah, I received bids last week on a 1,400 square foot interior minor renovation, nothing to it. It came at $700 a square foot for 1,400 square feet. I mean, the numbers are through the roof. I thought as we started to get further away from COVID, we would start to see numbers come down. I'm just not seeing them. And the lead time, I mean, you see, was still, we only got the mechanical equipment for Lloyd that was ordered in March. We only got it in November. And electrical equipment is over a year out. There's a 52 to 60 week backlog on electrical equipment, switch gears and transformers and panels. It's still crazy out there.
Are the same subs winning the business again and again, or we have a diversity of subs working in our district?
There are people that like to deal with schools, and there are a lot of contractors that are starting to get away because they can't afford the bonding and the insurance requirements.
On these projects, though, did the same people do all the bathroom work?
Same general contractors, yeah. I mean, I could pick or choose, maybe there's 3 or 4 others that could have bid or would have bid on this project.
Well, you had 7 bids in some cases, right?
Yeah,
A lot of
we had
bids
7
bids,
mechanical
But
contractors.
the same people keep coming in low?
No,
But, all right, 'cause I'm just trying to figure out, so the bids go to you, and then you open them, and
the
you
bids
decide
come to the district.
to us?
They have to come to the district, they have to be there. So this bid opening was January 8th. They're required to be submitted in a separate sealed envelope before 11 a.m. on January 8th. And then we go into the community room, we break them up into the different trades, we open up all the bids, we read them aloud, and then it's our job to review the bids along with Park East, and then the bids get awarded to the lowest responsible bidder.
So is Park East our representative and looks after our interests?
Correct.
So we hire them to make sure we're getting good prices?
You're hiring them to make sure that the plans and specs are followed accordingly. They also do a peer review to make sure that what we're bidding or what the contractor bid on is on the plans and specs. And they're another set of eyes for the district, yes.
And what is your role once the job begins, you design it, and then what happens?
And we're here on a weekly basis at weekly job meetings. So we're here every week, walking the jobs, doing weekly job meetings, writing job meeting reports, completing the punch list, dealing with the problems and issues that come up. And our job isn't done until the substantial completion form is issued and the final payments are
And
made.
when you come, Park East is at the meetings too, and you're all working together. I guess Anthony's at these meetings.
Correct. Yeah, and Park East is on site. Park East is hired to be on site. So when a contractor's on site, they're on site. But Park East is responsible to be here full time.
And can we pull up, okay, so I want to, so some of these bathrooms have red and white in the same, they're all recently done. How come some are done red and white and some are done just absolutely bare bones?
We thought it was a little too small to get that red-white band, so we just left them all white. But we could add a red and blue.
We don't want to edit it, I'm just saying, they're kids' bathrooms too. I mean, no fun tile or anything, but I'm not even going to get in that. I'm not looking to add cost. I think for 1,800 a square foot, we can have fun tile for kids. We can make it, because they're going to be with these bathrooms for the next, 15 years?
Yeah.
And they look, would you say they're unimpressive?
There's single-stall classroom bathrooms. I
Okay.
mean, the only difference between them and the ones at Goose Hill is Goose Hills are a little bit bigger. But I think at Goose Hill, we need to put tile on the walls. We stopped at the sanitary code. You could do that at Lloyd, but I just think the maintenance upkeep would be crazy.
Like, let's pull up the electrical bill for this job, because I want to go through that. I think we have that somewhere. I just see numbers on, here we go. Okay, so, could you go down, please, and educate me? For example, lighting fixtures, 2,200. Are they like on back order? Because there's no $2,200 in light fixtures.
So the light fixtures are required with the energy code. They have to have daylight harvesting in them. They're controlled with a Cat 5 cable to turn on and off and dim. The lighting requirements now have gone through the roof with some of the new increased environmental codes.
What's mobilization?
That's them getting out of bed and driving to West Side.
Really?
They say they need to mobilize, so they gotta bring their work box in, they'll have it on site for they wheel it through the truck.
Okay. General conditions, just curious, what conditions are general?
So general conditions would be the payment for their office staff, any submittals, any permits, any job cleanup, meetings.
Lighting fixture install, and then we have branch wiring labor, so that's labor, 4,700, but then you're charging for install, and then, so what's the difference?
So when you say I don't do the work and I don't charge the work and I don't put the invoices or the bids together. So these are actually
So
questions.
who's watching our money?
Well, I don't put the bid in. The bid is based off of our plans and specs.
But you, sir, said that we ask for a bathroom, and then you design a bathroom, and then you tell us, you design it with a little cushion, you tell us this is what it's gonna cost so we can build a budget, pass the money. For example, we wanted a traffic light. We got a quote, which I believe you were.
Our engineer provided, yeah.
$675,000. The actual cost, you definitely built the cushion because the actual cost is going to be between $300,000 and $325,000. So that's too big a cushion because we're voting on $675,000. We have to vote on accurate numbers. And this is concerning that you're not able to go through these invoices and tell us what exactly this means because you're telling us you're the keeper of the budget prices, right?
Well, I mean, so the branch wiring is the material or the wiring that goes from the lights all the way back to the circuit breaker panel. And then you have the labor to run the wiring back at the circuit breaker panel. And remember, they're required to have 2 people on site at $150 an hour. And they're required, because they're all union, to be paid for a full day. So if it's $300, $2,400 a day for 2 guys. And they're not going to probably work the full day to run branch circuit wiring for 2 bathrooms.
FA equipment, what's that?
So that's the fire alarm equipment that they would be having to buy from the company that services your fire alarm system. They would sell them that. And then the fire alarm equipment installation. And then punch list and closeout.
All right, let's go to another bill, please. Any way to turn that sideways? What's this bill for? I don't recognize this one, actually. I was looking for the AC bill or the plumbing bill. Oh, here's AC, okay. Where's the AC, by the way? Because I just see a little 4x4 ceiling vent.
So that's the exhaust fan, and then the ductwork, and then the vent in the ceiling.
So what was 16 hours for, what did they do? I just see a little, like you said, a little vent in the ceiling. What took 16 hours?
So they pulled down the old ductwork, and they pulled the new ductwork up to exhaust fans, and then the grill in the ceiling.
And that took 16 hours? Have you ever had the HVAC replaced in your house?
Yes, I have.
Did it take multiple days for them to remove anything and replace it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's for a house. This is a bathroom.
Correct.
And I just.
It took 1 day for my house.
Air balancing 500. What? The vent is there, what are we balancing?
So they gotta balance and make sure the exhaust fan is sitting properly and pulling out the proper CFM. We'll specify a CFM, and we gotta make sure that the fan is pulling the proper CFM.
Was that in 16 hours?
That's in the air balancing.
Yeah, so the allowance for what are we allowing for again?
So an allowance is always built into a project, just in case something comes up during construction that's unforeseen. So in this case, nothing took place that was unforeseen, so we'll be writing a deduct change order of $5,000 back to the district for unused allowances.
Unused, we get 5,000 back. Okay, next bill? What do we got here? 14,000 for, which work is this? Is this the GC?
No, that's the plumber for the two work locations.
And they were renovations, so plumbing existed, right?
We pulled all of the plumbing out with old and in with new. And again, they're required to have two plumbers on site.
And we didn't use the allowance again?
No, so you'll get that back.
And when you gave us the 53,000 per bathroom roughly, does that back out those allowances? That's the net?
The allowance comes off the top of that. We didn't use any allowance on any of the buildings. So
When we net these allowances out, we'll end up with 53,000 per bathroom, or we'll end up with less?
I think at the end, when you get your allowances back, it'll be down in the, I don't know, 20,000, 15,000. I gotta look at all the numbers.
Okay, but that's what I'm asking. That 53 goes to what, you think, maybe 43?
Probably less than that, because we didn't use any of the allowance in any of the three work locations for bathrooms, so that's 15,000 right there.
Did you use the allowance on the first floor bathrooms that look very similar to this?
No.
So-
The only allowances that were used were in the kitchen. There were two minor requested by the owner to use some allowance money. And then all of the rest is coming back as part of deduct change orders. We can't obviously deduct the allowance at the beginning because we haven't started the work. So then when you do your project closeout, you'll have deduct change orders to reduce it before you do your final payments.
Okay, so those materials in there are, Home Depot, no frills, and we're $3,250 for toilets. There's one toilet. What's the other? That toilet,
It's two toilets. Two toilets, two sinks, two floor drains.
$3,250.
Yeah, and they're not Home Depot. They're directly from
Well,
small.
I know, I'm just saying. Well, I'm even marking it up so 24 and a half man hours, profit, what they actually put in, the profit they're making on the job?
They're for a change order, they're allowed 10, 5, and 2, which is 10%, 5% profit, and 2% for bond increase. That's right in the general conditions.
Can you explain what rounding is? Because it seems to be on every bill that rounds up to an even number, is that right?
I guess what they did, they rounded it up
Just
to
rounded
the
up.
number. Yeah.
So, I guess the only thing, one last thing, please. If we could look at the bills for the upstairs, I think we have them, because I want to see if they're roughly the same. Let's just stop here for a second. What's this bill? Original contract, 62,000. Total contract, what is this, sir?
So that's our original bill for, I don't know, I can't. Yeah, 60, that must have been their original for work location 1, 3, and 4. And then we added the 14,500, which is the work location. And then that's his total contract.
I have no idea what you're saying, but you're confident that these numbers are, completely within the normal scope of what they-
Unfortunately, in the public sector now, these are the numbers that we're seeing. They're through the roof.
But it sounds like you're recommending that we have an in-house team to start doing more of this work.
It might be a good idea to do some of the work in-house, sure. I mean, we did the renovations to get the robotics lab. I know Anthony's team helped out and did a lot of the stuff in-house. I mean, districts are doing it, you know, but it's a full, you know, you have to work with civil service and full-time mechanics, but that would be their job. Instead of doing A, B, and C, they would renovate a bathroom, or they would put ceilings in a classroom.
All right, so these light fixtures for 2,200, just, I'm not sure I understood that. We're getting fixtures, or they just cost a lot?
The fixtures and the lighting controls and the wiring, I can send you a cut sheet if you want.
The switches are like not even flush, they're not even automatic. They're the old black switches that were there probably before the bathrooms are renovated,
I
right?
don't think those are the final ones. I think we're waiting for the permanent ones to come in. I know he was there tonight doing some work, putting in the fire alarm devices. I think I'll check on the other stuff.
Do you have an estimated date on when this will be done?
That I don't, and we're still waiting on the lead time on the doors. I mean, doors are another thing, 20-week lead time on doors and hardware.
And what was the date that work was started? I forget.
Not until June, that first Monday, June 26th, June 28th, something like that.
Okay.
Really quickly, do you have the bills back there that you can bring up for the first floor? Because they should be similar. I don't know if you...
They're the last of each of the PDFs of the upstairs bathrooms.
That's not, those are the bathrooms we talked about. 111, 112. Should we be doing something differently to follow the cost and the money? Should we be giving you more guidance in terms of what? We couldn't have told you design a less thorough bathroom because that's as bare bones as it gets. So it's not like we're asking for luxury to be put in. But what if you were sitting on the board and there was an architect that worked for you, what would you say to that architect?
I've always been very careful, unless I'm specifically told about over-designing because it's public money.
Absolutely. So you're sitting in my seat and I'm over there. What are you asking me?
I want something that's nice. I want the bones to last. I want the best roof. I want the best windows. I want the best door. But there are ways you can do things. You don't have to put Italian marble flooring. You can do it with paint and ceramic. But sometimes just to get somebody to come into a small project of this magnitude, you're going to see these ridiculously high numbers. And like I said, what we've done in a couple of other districts, we recommend their maintenance crew do some of these other projects. They don't have the overhead, the bond, the insurance, all of this stuff goes out the wayside. They're being paid, so the labor is not there. You're basically buying material that they're installing on their 8-hour day.
Do architects ever work by the hour? Say we came to you and said we need you to design 2 bathrooms, what would your fee be for that versus a % of the project?
I mean, I've seen it a lot on RFPs. If
Right.
it's under $100,000
Maybe, is that
or
something?
under $50,000.
Is that something we should do, is try to bill that service by the hour?
It's very difficult because my process that I do and the amount of things that I do for districts and in this district that I've done for free and never said boo over the years. I mean, I guess you could, but I mean, I've never done that way, but I usually don't bill unless we're doing a capital project.
But you're designing the project, so you actually control the price of that project to a large degree, right? You could design it 50,000 or 70,000, as long as it comes in under budget, we don't know the difference, right?
Yeah, and that works good once or twice, but, you know,
we don't know.
it's a very small community. There's only 124 school districts.
How would we know if, look, I keep, in this presentation, I keep saying, under budget. That seems to be the mantra, as long as it's under budget, but you're setting the budget, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we should pay projects by the hour, and then it's not a % of the project. Do architects work for school districts in that fashion?
The problem with that is, again, like I initially said, the budget and and the approval from the community has to come before the design. So you would ask them by the hour, we want to spend $200,000 on X, but if the community doesn't approve that, or they approve more, or they approve, it's very difficult. It's not just, hey, 10 hours and in 10 hours design me something. Because I do so much more back and forth that is over and above the 5%.
We have a 1-3-5-year construction plan, right? So we know what we're going to be building over the next year. So if we find an architect and say, we need bathrooms, we need a kitchen, we need this, and you bid out, to design all this, what would the fee be, flat fee, that sounds like a better way to do it, right? And then we could build a budget up that way. So I'm just trying to think of ways to do things that's the most cost effective, because I do want to find out if the prevailing rate for like very bare bones, no frills bathroom is 1,800 a square foot. Maybe it is. It just seems like a lot of money.
Can I just go back to something you just said? You said it's expensive to get some people, contractors come in to do these small jobs, right? So that's kind of confusing to me because one, I don't think this really is a small job. It went from 2 to 6 bathrooms. It was very costly, so I wouldn't. And you're saying it's a small job. So is that, does their prevailing wage differ depending on the size of the job?
No. The
Okay, so
second,
then what did you mean by that when you said
Well, the second-
it's hard to get people in to do such a small job?
some people are not even bidding, and what they'll do is they'll throw a ridiculous high number, like, if I'm gonna come and build this little project, I'm gonna put a high number. If I get it, great, I'll make more money. If I don't, who cares, because I didn't really need it. But whether the electrician is working 1 hour or 50 hours, the owner of the company has to list, Joe Monastero works 8 hours a day, he gets paid $150 an hour for 8 days and 40 hours a week, and then he has to sign it. And now the labor department just came out this last week, they want every and any contractor that's going to do public works prevailing wage projects to register on the New York State Labor Department website, and then within the next few months, upload all of certified payroll. So anybody in the world can see if XYZ contractor is paying his employees certified payroll and the actual rate. So
What is that difference? Can you explain to me what the COSAR list is through BOCES? Do you know what that is?
the what?
The COSAR list? No?
I had a question based on something that you said also. I know you said that you would never recommend something that was overpriced or like over-designed, something that we didn't need. So my question is, in our new science wing, which is just beautiful, the glass that turns opaque, whose recommendation was that?
So that goes back to 2017, 2018.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, because.
Yeah. I mean, everybody went to Chaminade, and everybody wanted Chaminade, they wanted to rival either Chaminade or.
And they had that at Chaminade, that wall,
Chaminade has that wall.
and that was the recommendation to spend that money. And then what about the wet lab too? The design of that?
That was the intent at the time, was to get the wet lab, the marine biology, the coral reef lab. We put in all fiberglass ductwork to receive it. We put in all PVC piping to do it all. Joe and I have been dealing with issues now on how we get labor to put in the fish tanks. And
What do you mean you're having problems with labor?
well, it's a problem. We have the equipment that we need. And I know Erin has picked out the equipment, and Joe and I have had countless conversations about this. We know the filters, the pumps, the tanks, the racks. We have a bid ready to go to buy the equipment, but the installation, and we checked with the attorney, and they said this too has to be paid prevailing wage. And I'm sure there's not a fish store company in the world that pays prevailing wage to install a fish tank.
Don't we pay the prevailing wage, not the fish store?
Well, no, they have to pay his employees.
So they bill us, don't they?
They do, but I don't know if they would now want to, because, no, I mean, you're owner of a fish store, you come in, you bring a fish tank, you have a truck full of parts, you build a fish tank, you do what you gotta do, and you go on your
Have you
way.
ever built a wet lab before, designed one?
We've designed, yeah.
Because our students have not had a wet lab, they signed up for a class, and this project has taken a ridiculous amount of time. Is this something every day you're checking on to see, you know, I know how I work, I know how the people I work with work. I've never seen things move this slowly sometimes. Like, what took so long with this wet lab?
So we have, again,
Not again.
the avenue,
Start from the beginning. What took so long?
the avenue, well, I'll tell you what took so long is we designed the wet lab, science chair left, new science chair came in. Halfway through the project, there was rumblings that it wasn't going to be a wet lab anymore, and we were going to do maybe...
Who told you that?
Previous administration. So then it was brought back up to the forefront, and again, we do not have the means, unless the attorney can help me with this one, to have labor done in the school to install the components of the lab. We were
Well,
going
you
to
said
just buy the equipment.
you said you've done other wet labs, right? So how did you deal with the problem then? Did you work with
The
schools?
district just bought the equipment, and whether they're in-house staff or their person that, like I know in
So can
Southampton.
we do that?
Could what?
Can we do that?
I don't know if you're,
Did you ask?
Aaron does not have
These
the ability.
students need to have a functioning wet lab. I feel badly for them.
I couldn't agree more.
I'm on a board that's supposed to get them their wet lab, and I ask questions, and are you working on this every day?
Joe and I talked 3 hours ago about this.
And when's the last time you talked before that?
Talked 3 times a week about wet labs.
And what do you accomplish?
We really don't accomplish anything.
All right,
We
thank
don't-
you for admitting that.
Well,
That's
Okay, I have one more, John, sorry, I have
Put
one
that in
more
my hands, sir.
question. I just have one more question about spending recommendations, and this goes back a couple of years, but I was on the board at the time when you had recommended the gas service installation, and we did not approve that. Can you remind me what the cost was of that?
So originally, we got numbers from PSC&G, and the 2 I remember is the high school and Lloyd. Originally, we were told that it wouldn't cost us anything to bring high-pressure gas to Lloyd Harbor,
Yeah,
and it was going to be $5,000. They were going to eat the cost.
right.
After we got SCD approval, we went back to National Grid, and they came with a letter and said it's going to cost $1.4 million.
That's right.
At the high school, I think they told us it was going to be $400,000 to come from Lawrence up to the building. We got SCD approval, we went back to Nat Grid, and they wanted, it was 1.1 or 1.2, something like that.
Something in the neighborhood of about $3 million for both projects, or a little south of that maybe. So, and did New York State in 2023, when we were having this conversation, did they change the law about new buildings having gas in New York State? And is our governor moving towards not allowing gas in buildings?
They're pushing for electric, not gas.
Right, not allowing gas, right?
No,
So
well,
I'm
no.
wondering why, I'm just trying to clarify, because you said you try to only recommend to us that we spend money in a way that makes sense for the district. So, and at the beginning of this presentation, you brought up the gas again, knowing that it's just south of $3 million just to bring the line in, and knowing that I know we had the conversation, right, that New York State is moving away from allowing gas in state buildings, right, and new buildings. So I'm just wondering, just as you're recommending to us how to spend money,
I'm recommending...
what the explanation is for that.
Well, I'm not recommending Lloyd. I think it is, you would never burn enough gas at Lloyd or West Side to justify bringing gas to those buildings. I was recommending the high school, because the high school is used 24/7, 365. You have 5 boiler
This
rooms.
says, you have it in your recommendation under district-wide projects, not just under the high school.
Those are just, that's how it was originally listed on the bond.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
I think it says district-wide
Great.
roof generators and gas.
Thanks.
Um,
I was just trying to remember, I knew it was a really, really big number, I feel like it was $5 million all in to bring in the generator and the gas, is that correct? To this,
Yeah.
just to this building maybe, is that right?
No, it was $5 million for everything, and then we originally said, forget Lloyd, forget West Side, put the generator at Goose because it's admin, and we were always back and forth.
Because there's gas on that street already, right?
Where? At Goose?
On Goose Hill?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Just waiting for a
there's-
new,
There's
regulator
gas on
coming.
Lloyd too, in fact, it's right outside the school.
What's that?
There's a gas line right outside the school, Lloyd Harbor.
Yeah, we're just waiting for a new regulator to come in and get that generator up and running. That
There's
will-
no
Yeah,
gas
that-
line, there's no
that-
gas
that-
line
We
there.
have a generator in that building.
Oh, and there is a gas line already?
Goose Hill has been running strictly
No, no, I'm
solely
not-
on gas since '07.
And Lloyd Harbor has gas?
Lloyd Harbor has no gas. Lloyd Harbor and West right now are only oil. But the other problem that we have is that when the bond was sold, we didn't call for these, to furnish and install a new 10,000 gallon fuel oil tank. It was the anticipation.
Because you thought you were gonna dump the tanks and put gas in. right?
Correct. So now we would have to have the attorneys, like we decided we don't want to go gas, but we want to put a real fuel oil tank in. We would have to see if the attorneys, if we could do that under the bond, or we'd have to go back to the community and ask for a shifting of funds to put in a new fuel oil tank.
Okay, and
Because
what do
we
you
don't have
think,
the
what do
money.
you think that would cost?
About $375,000 for a 10,000 gallon
Okay,
tank.
thank you.
Mr. Grillo, I'm just trying to sum up with lessons learned, at least for now. So we should hire an in-house crew to do jobs like these bathrooms. You're saying it would be much cheaper. How many people should we hire?
It depends. I think when we did the library in Goose Hill, I think they hired 3 mechanics. You know, and
Cold Spring Harbor, how many people should we hire?
that's what I'm saying. When you did it for Goose Hill, I think you hired 3. One could do plumbing and mechanical. I think they had one that was just a carpenter, and one could do carpentry and
When you
electrical.
say hire, you mean we hire directly?
You guys hired them. I don't know how it worked with civil service. This goes back to 2009.
So we had employees that used to do this work that no longer
You
are
did,
here?
but you hired them for one project.
So we can do that? We can hire
I
people off the
don't,
street?
you have to check with the attorney in terms of civil service. Can you do a one and done, or would they get
So we'll
full-time
look into
employee in your budget?
Well, maybe have some more full-time maintenance people, right, on the school grounds, because, I just keep thinking about 6 bathrooms for over 300 grand. So if we had, let's just say we hired 2 full-time maintenance workers, just, at, I don't know, 100,000 each, I don't know what, 150,000, anyway, you could get to that 300,000 probably for a year and have 2 guys do a lot more than 6 bathrooms.
Yeah.
So to me, I keep circling back in my head that this is not working, so we're gonna have to try something
On
else.
the smaller projects, I agree.
Okay.
The
Thank
wet
you.
labs, when are we gonna have a wet lab?
Joe, did you talk to you were gonna reach out to that guy this morning?
Yeah, Karen didn't send me the name, we're gonna reach out to him, I'm sure she gets your phone number.
Can we get receipts for things like the toilets and the lights and everything, so we can see that
That's everything there is.
those are not receipts, though?
Those are the invoices that we pay on.
Oh, so we have so like I've asked for invoices and it's taken a week to get them. Do we have them on site here, or do they have to get them from you?
No, they go on site.
They're
So
with
we'll
us.
approve them. First, so the process is the construction manager reviews the payment record. Once they approve them, they send it to us. We sign them, take the certified payroll, send it to Christine's office, and then once she has all the paperwork in hand, then she'll issue the check based on, that's what's called the G703, that's a continuation sheet.
So
And then she would pay it based on that.
Park East is our construction manager, so the bills go to them, they review them, and then they pass them to Christine.
And pencil copy to them, well, then they come to me for final signature, and then they go to the business office.
So you sign off before they go to Christine?
Correct.
On the bills, and then if we had our own construction manager in-house, do you think that would be beneficial versus an outside?
That would be Anthony.
Anthony's our construction manager?
No, he's the director of facilities, and usually what districts do is they hire a separate construction manager because now the director of facilities is doing their day-to-day operation, and it's hard to do the day-to-day operation and be on-site watching construction going on while everything else that they're doing in the summer. So,
We pay quite a bit of fees to Park East, so we can have an in-house construction manager, no? I'm just trying.
I would assume.
So if we hire by the hour an architect, have an in-house construction manager, you know, this looks like a more attention. We don't have a 7, 8 month wet lab. You know, I'm asking you to put yourself in my seat,
Sure.
and then me standing there. Give me the business. Tell me, hey, this is what I want from you, or this is what I need from you. I want you to play me for. Give me your, because you know better than me this field. You know better about architecture, construction costs. I want you to pretend you're me, and what questions would you ask me standing there?
Well, I know with some of the statements that you're making, I don't think civil service would allow you to hire a construction manager separate from the director of facilities. Maintenance mechanics, yes, but they would be probably full-time employees. But these are more questions for the attorney, not for.
But our director of facilities could manage the construction.
I don't want to speak for Anthony to do day-to-day plus. I can tell you right now that there's
Does that happen in other school districts?
No, I don't know. There's no one director of facilities that is working and doing their
Do
job.
I have a
plus
construction manager?
They do.
Yeah, so you just.
No, they have an independent construction
They're
manager.
using like Park East or somebody.
Or the East or.
They don't have it in-house, you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
They have an in-house director of facilities, and then the construction manager reports to the director of facilities.
But again, could you please just role play for me? You're sitting here, I'm standing there, you're a board member. What questions would you ask you about bathrooms, about how to do things better? Educate me.
We're bound by so many things that aren't nuts and bolts. We're bound by bonds, we're bound by insurance, we're bound by prevailing
No,
wage.
not bound. You're me.
We are though.
I know, you're me. What questions? I want to hear the actual questions that you would ask if you were a board member of a person standing in your position.
I would ask then if the architect, before you submit plans to the state education department, sit again with the director of facilities and go to the facilities committee meeting and get a sign off. And then prior to going out to bid, review those plans again and get another sign off. And have final sign off before we move forward.
And what would you accomplish doing that? Better pricing, more oversight?
Not better pricing, but better assurances that we've had the end user take a look at the plans and specs.
That would be a good thing. We also want before pictures. Can we start making that a practice that we take before pictures of jobs? Because honestly, when we got those pictures, I thought I had a question if they were before or after pictures.
Sure.
And so you said we want receipts for like the cost of lights and toilets. We can get that because those aren't receipts.
That's on there. I don't know what, that's between the contractors.
They don't exist.
And I'm sure they're gonna have receipts. Again, that's between the contractors and, that's not for me to say, here's a receipt, and then you say, oh, I could buy it cheaper.
Because I've taken enough time, I just find it so hard to believe that those bathrooms
Tell me about it.
were 1,800 a square foot. And if they are, the system's really broken because we're spending too much where we could spend it on, education, salaries, benefits, and wet labs, that nicer wet labs if we ever get one. Can you promise me you will focus more on that, please?
I can promise you again, but I have been focusing, and what I told Joe today is I will come out, if we can get the fish tank guy, I will come to the site, I will do the drawings myself, and we'll bid them out with the labor, and it's gonna be $100,000+ for fish tanks.
And you've done wet labs before, and we're trying to figure out how to get it done. I'm confused, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Well, again, all of the other end users have had people that could do the fish tanks and building them themselves. So it's just.
Thank you. So, Heather, do you have a question? Okay.
Yeah, the wetlands, I'm sorry for my words, are they coming under budget or over budget? Where are we with that part of the bond?
So I think the price that Erin was getting was roughly about $65,000. That was for all of the equipment. In the overall price of that piece, we had a contingency. We didn't break it down by fish tanks because we had no idea how many fish tanks you were gonna do, if it was gonna be built in over years. But there's money in the bond to pay for that. It's just the avenue to get the labor to install them is the hiccup. But there is money in the bond to cover that cost, so it doesn't have to go outside of the bond.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, John.
Okay, so this is my point of clarification. Mr. Munster, can you tell us when the change orders appeared on the board agenda in August? And actually, Mr. Italiente asked for detail on what the change orders were. He was told by the Assistant Superintendent of Finance that they were for what?
They were for boilers.
Right. So not for the bathrooms. So just so everyone's aware. Thank you. Okay. We are now going to continue with the rest of our agenda. Committee reports. So the policy committee met. We've addressed that a little bit already this evening. We're going to have a report now from policy.
I'm going to try, my voice is gone. So the policy committee met this past Friday. We have two policies tonight for first reading. The first one is 2160, board member, school district officer, and ethics. We updated the policy, the purpose of which is to avoid all conflicts of interest of persons while they're employed by the district or when they owe duty to the district. So that would be a board member. So that is what that policy that we're updating touches on. The second policy that's on for first reading that we worked on Friday is a new policy, and that pertains to the recording of these board meetings. We have three policies on for second reading. One's voting procedures, that's 2120.2, that updates is really concerning early mail ballots. And then 8210.1, that's for the use of surveillance cameras on school properties. This is a policy we're adding pertaining to our use of surveillance cameras for purposes of student discipline and safeguarding our property and facilities. Alex, in her statement, referenced this last policy that's on for second read. That's 5150R. In that policy, the policy committee is recommending changes that are intended to modernize the admissions policy and specifically addresses documentation requirements to demonstrate residency in the district. For example, the policy lists ways a parent, caregiver can prove residency and clarifies that various documents may be used for proof instead of must be used for proof. Additionally, the policy provides a link to the New York State Education Department website that lists a student's rights under New York State law. Finally, the policy clarifies that students will be admitted next school day or as soon as practicable after a request for enrollment. That's all I have. Anything else, Lisa?
We've had two times since the last board meeting, actually.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, quite a bit, but thank you very much. Okay.
Al, we moved on to committee reports.
We are on committee reports, yes.
I had a couple items in discussion. Okay.
Discussion is a different area than committee reports. Were you on a committee that met?
No, we usually have an open discussion.
Yeah, that discussion is, we're still in, we moved to committee reports, but you want to go back to discussion?
Yeah, I had
Okay.
a couple items, that's why.
Okay.
So after, are we?
Did we finish with policy?
Yes.
We're finished with policy, I think we even have more.
Yeah, two tech committee then.
Let's do the tech committee and we'll go back to discussion then. Thank you.
Okay, just really quickly, the tech committee met on November 14th. It was run by Guy Fulton. She's been doing a lot of great work since she started. She spoke mostly about the rollout of Parent Square, all the different things that you can do with Parent Square, how you can, eventually, we're going to keep seeing updates. The other day, there was an update that we're going to start getting attendance through Parent Square. Hopefully sports will start to be on that. So I think the end game is that you can be able to sort it and set it to what you want. You can see the specific things that you want to be alerted about. Dr. Fulton also talked about, she's reviewing some of the program purchases that we have, some of the subscriptions, see what's being used, kind of get rid of the things that haven't been used in a while. We don't need to redo the tech plan, as that's good until the 25-26 school year. And we're finishing up the E-rate switch project, right, Jeff? That's the right notes. And and we're still always looking into AI and how we're going to deal with that.
Thank you very much. Any other committees? No. All right, let's return then to discussion. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So last meeting, we agreed to poll the students and residents about a third language, and I was wondering if we had any further update on that.
Referring to the survey?
Right. What's the status of the third language?
So based on we gave the survey, we sent out two separate surveys, one to the parents and guardians and one to the students. And the parents, there were 280 responses from parents and guardians, and their first choice of a third language for an elective was Italian, followed by a second choice of Chinese/Mandarin. For the students, there were 595 responses, and their first choice of a language was Italian. That came in about 40% of the students. And the second choice for students was American Sign Language. So in taking that into consideration, along with everything else that we've been discussing, so we talked about how challenging it is to find teachers of third languages. We are leaning towards the Italian because not only is there interest, we do need to have students interested in the course to run it. That's another factor. We need staff to teach the course. And so we do have someone on staff who speaks Italian. So that's something that we could possibly staff. If it's one section, that will work out. If it's more than one section, then we're looking at hiring a part-time person. So it depends on the number of sections. So it was all of those factors taken into consideration to move forward with Italian.
And when are we making this official, or where does this stand?
Yes, we're making this official.
So we're offering an elective of Italian?
Correct. And we're holding off. We just wanted to report back to the board. We put in the Friday notes as well to make sure that the board was on board with that. So the program of study is not moving forward to be sent off to print until we were all comfortable with that decision as well.
We have to vote on that?
No, at the last meeting, we said, we kind of left it blank as whatever we decided
Okay.
afterwards, so it's going to be Italian.
And then Ms. Lagatuda said it'll be, it's Italian, and then that's it. The board doesn't have to.
No, we already approved moving forward
Vote on that.
yeah,
All right,
with their recommendation. So
Understood.
that's Jen's recommendation.
Thank you. And then, did we get pricing on the panic button for the lanyards yet? We talked about last month. We have that. Is the board going to get that pricing because we want to buy them, or at least know how much they cost?
That's something we're looking to put into the budget for next year, so. It'll be
Next
a
year.
purchase, yeah.
So that we have to wait till next year to purchase
Can we
them?
find out how much they are? Because we probably could find, we're getting that.
I would, 83 we thought, right, roughly, was that? We thought about $83,000.
83,000. All right. So that's not an insignificant amount.
No.
That's a bathroom and a half. So
Hopefully 5 bathrooms.
The perception survey, what's the status of that?
So we could just move forward. We're looking at the company I like. I don't know if I want to say which company I like right now. Getting the final quote from them to purchase via BOE season. I think we could have something on the January board meeting to approve the company.
And the traffic light, what's the status of that?
Today, the Huntington Town Board, I have to check to see if they approve. We expect them to approve I want to use the correct term, the resolution for the town attorney then to draft the IMR intermunicipal agreement for us to move forward to do the purchase and installation of the light through them. So they had to do that first. Step would be today. If it's done, they'll send the contract over to us, our attorney will review it, and then at our next board meeting, we should be able to have it on as a resolution to move forward with the town of Huntington. That would be the most cost-effective of doing it between going out to bid where there were two who put in a bid. Going through the town requirements contract was less expensive by about $20,000.
If all goes well, when are the estimates will be up and running?
They had estimates anywhere from 3 to 6 months. They said the most time-consuming component is the metal arms that are needed. They're fabricated, I guess, per each item. Everything else is more standard.
We may start quite soon, you said?
Then we're relying on the town. So if the town approved, which we expected them to today, we would sign the agreement. They would approve the agreement at their meeting, and then they move. They seem very anxious to get it done and do the work.
Last
Did you
question.
say we needed to have one more meeting to approve it too?
The next one. So at the town board meeting today, they had to approve the resolution for them to draft the agreement between us and Huntington to do the work.
Okay, and then if they approve that, we need one more meeting to approve
One more,
that. So
right.
if I understand the holidays are coming, so that slows things down, but if we can get a quorum together before winter break, we could do that and approve it in a meeting
Oh, yes.
as well, rather than wait till mid-January and have another month behind. I mean, I know that it probably doesn't make much of a difference.
Well, it might.
Closing, but yeah.
But we'd have to wait for the town to give it to us, which I don't
Yes.
think would be a big deal.
Okay, thank you.
Last question was, I could read my scribble. Oh, we were looking at putting cameras in for license plate purposes on the campuses to capture license plates. And can we get an update on that in terms of where that stands and what the pricing looks like?
Did we get the prices for the cameras? Right. And again, I was looking for these to be budgetary items for the next budget. If we think we want to move quicker on that, we could. I think these were part of my budget for.
So if you're coming in off Lawrence Hill Road, what building would that be on?
Lawrence Hill Road, we could put one that is attached to the football field that we have a network out there.
Oh, that maybe the snack bar or something?
We could do anywhere from the snack bar or on the press box.
So if you're coming down instead,
We could, on the traffic, we don't have network out there. So we don't have, so for any of the locations you would have in the high school, obviously being the biggest challenge because of the distance from the village, but we do have a network switch. Get at that location.
thank you. I'm sorry, I thought of one more thing. So we do very nice, what do you call those? Get tired. We do, like orientation for 8th grade, moving up, etc. We do nice presentations. They're not recorded, so if you miss that night, you miss it. And those are so important. They're filled with terrific information, so much information. It'd be nice to re-listen to. Is there any reason why we don't record those types of meetings even though there was one on college?
They recorded the college night.
We did.
I asked about it because I also was not able to attend and I got the recording.
So if you see
Yeah.
here, we have 3 cameras that were installed as part of the bond work in the pack, and that was part of what we were going to do going forward to record them, and we're using them today. So that was the first one. with the work being done to be recorded.
So in the future, we'll record those meetings?
We'll be recording those meetings. Right, yes, we're recording them, and we're using that equipment today. We do have to, on those meetings, those are easy. We do have to be careful. Tonight, I'm not so sure all the music will be allowed when we post to YouTube. It may be copyrighted. We may have to block that out.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, things are proprietary we do here, I would assume. We don't want, but, so would we password protect those for parents, or anybody can log on to our website and watch how we counsel parents? And
We haven't, that will be the first week, we don't have it password protected. I mean,
it's really, just something I think if we want to do or not.
okay.
The password can get out easily, so
Yeah,
it probably doesn't work.
I don't think it's.
I wonder too, Joe, are you even able to do that if other residents wanted to watch the meeting?
Right.
They probably couldn't have it password.
Right, so,
protected,
yeah.
probably.
But I
Well,
think,
this meeting could have password
Well, I'm
protected.
asking the attorney.
Oh,
Yeah, a public, oh no, a meeting for, let's say, ninth grade parents orientation to high school. If that's recorded and posted, can that be then password protected? Or does anyone in the community have the right to watch that?
No, I think you could.
You could pass it.
Protect that, you know,
Okay.
know what the process would be.
Okay,
To get that
You're
password.
talking about a specific meeting with ninth grade parents to discuss.
yeah,
private-
incoming
Yeah,
ninth grade or 11th graders, it was a college meeting this week, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's acceptable. Okay, that's an interesting.
I think there'd be happy parents if they could watch it if they're both that night, or, you know, so. And our faculty puts in so much work.
They did a good job.
It's, you know, we'll live on.
It's great. Sometimes you want to go back and look at what you missed too.
Yes.
Right, so
I do that.
we do want to password protect those.
I don't know, what do people think? Password protect or not password protect?
Well, it depends on, I mean, who are you letting into the meetings? If you're only letting current ninth grade parents into the meetings, then password protecting it is fine.
I mean, if a 10th grade parent showed, we wouldn't kick them out.
But I mean,
We would definitely have
They just wanted to remember ninth
if a
grade.
person without kids showed up, would you let them know?
Some people show up without kids, you know, they come by themselves.
Sure.
If a person without school-age students came, if just a resident of the district came.
Yeah, I'm not sure about taking a case like that if they have kids in grade or not, but I would probably say yes, yes.
Okay, so why don't we, right now, keep it that we're going to record the meetings, and since we're on page 1 of the agenda and it's 10:27 p.m., let's discuss further whether or not we want to password protect them at another meeting. Is everyone comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right, well, here we are then. We are at, I've lost my place, but we're in our first audience to visitors of the evening. Cold Spring Harbor Board of Education and Administration welcome your attendance at board meetings. Attendance to the public affords residents an opportunity to address the Board of Education on both agenda and non-agenda items. Each resident is allowed to speak for 3 minutes. This is not the forum to discuss student or staff-specific issues. Please contact the district separately on these matters.
I just wanted to say
Introduce
something.
yourself,
Chris
please.
Andres, address 1592 Little Hollow Road.
Thank you.
I wanted to first of all thank the board, because tonight we saw something that we never saw before. And the problem of a $54,000 bathroom is minuscule in an $80 million budget, but it represents a much bigger picture. And the fact is this: the gentleman that was here and everybody associated, all the contractors, everybody, nobody is incentivized to reduce costs. And that was what the board really, I think, realized tonight. The work that was done, I'm not going to rehash, we spent hours on the bathroom, but honestly, do you really think the ductwork was changed to $16,000? I'm willing to bet every dime I have that they connected to the existing ductwork. So we need someone like a facilities manager or an overall manager to inspect and make sure we're getting our money's worth. We saw this with our $450,000 softball fields that Town of Oyster Bay paid $100,000 for. And we're really getting to this now. And I think the lid's been blown off. And I really hope moving forward that any project that's done in this district is done on time and on budget, but is done responsibly. And I really want to truly thank all of you guys, everybody, for really taking the time and exposing this, because it's disgusting. You know, a house costs $300 a square foot to build. I'm very experienced with prevailing wage, and I know what it does to the cost. It increases them, but 6 times, you know, that's crazy. Anyway, we spent a lot of time on it. I wanted to thank you guys because it was very eye-opening what came out of the meeting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? We're going to move on to approval of minutes. November 12th, Bruce was absent. May I have a first? Lisa, second. Heather, any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to personnel recommendations. I have a walk-on for personnel. So may I have a motion to, I can find it now. Walk on a resolution for an elementary teaching position at Goose Hill School. May I have a first? Heather, may I have a second? Bruce, any questions? Discussion? All in favor? This is just walking it on. Thank you. I'm going to read the resolution now. Whereas the district has needed to fill an unexpected vacancy in a teaching position at Goose Hill Elementary School, and whereas the district has entered into an agreement with Alexandra Carrillo for a non-probationary appointment that will not lead to tenure, to be compensated at an annual salary of $62,983 prorated, and now therefore the board appoints Alexandra Carrillo to serve in this vacant position effective January 6, 2025 through June 30th, 2025. May I have a first? Lisa. Second. Heather, any questions? All in favor? Thank you. All right, we are going to take the other personnel recommendations of the superintendent, other matters, leaves, resignations.
Alex, I don't think you did minutes approval.
I did minutes approval already.
You did.
Yes, yes. Thank you. That's okay. We've been here a while. Appointments on pages 2 through 10 as a slate. May I have a first? Kate. Second. Bruce. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Okay. We now move on to business recommendations, donations, bid awards, budget transfers, and the claims auditor's report and additional business matters on pages 10 through 14. May I have a first? Lisa. Second. Kate. As a part of discussion, I'd like to just mention the donations and thank our donors. Do you want to do it, Joe? Or
Sure. We have a few donations here. First, we have the Westside PTG, who have donated the Gaga pit. In the past is now donating the ground part to prevent the mud when the kids come out to play Gaga, which is like kickball, handball combined. They really love it at both buildings. Then we have at the Westside PTG, they're doing the cafeteria, dressing up the entire cafeteria, all 4 walls, using 71 visuals. There's in your packet there is a rendering of what it would look like. It's going to look great. At Goose Hill, we're having the global play day. This is for the Education Foundation. Again, thank you for making that donation. Play is so important that we're using this on
day and the materials going forward. We also have the use of Aspen Rec for a drone to be used, again, from the Coastal Harbor Laboratory up at junior, senior high school. And those are all that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All in favor? Okay. We now move to special education reports. We will take all contracts and CSE, CPSE approvals on pages 14 as a slate. I have a first. Kate, second. Lisa, any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we now move to a first reading of policy 2160 and 2382 on page 14.
I think I read on this and then we did we skip the, did we go all the way to 10? I'm trying to 15 seconds.
Oh, sorry.
That's right.
I'm going to
We did the 10.
Yeah, as a slate.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I get it right.
Thank you. And we did special
We
education.
did special ed, okay, okay.
And so now we're at policy first. So policy 2160, board member, school district officer, and employee code of ethics, and, oh, okay, I see. Reporting and broadcasting of board meetings. We're going to vote to waive a first read on these policies. May I have a first? Kate? I can see you for Joe. Okay. Second, Lisa. Any questions? Comments? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we're going to move to a second read and adoption of policy 2120.2 and 8210.1 and 5150-R. 2120.2 is voting procedures. 8210.1 is use of surveillance cameras on school property. And 5150R is school admissions regulation. We're going to vote to waive a full reading and to adopt. May I have a first? Bruce? Second? Heather? Discussion? You want to?
So is this to waive first read and adopt?
Waive the second read and adopt.
And, okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't say something.
Yes.
So for policy 5150R, there was just an error. One of the passages was located, it's not a change to the wording. What was intended was the last paragraph of the entire policy was intended to be moved up to the first, I should say first page, I won't say first page, I'll say because I don't have it printed out, to the section evidence of residence in the district. So that final paragraph will be just moved to be underneath that. That subheading, evidence of residence in district. And then go on to say prior to enrolling children in school, etc.
Thank you. So the paragraph is just out of order. It's not a matter of changing the word. Okay.
It should have been moved up to underneath that subheading.
So that will be rectified. All in favor? Thank you. Okay. This agenda includes financial reports on page 11. And these reports are for informational purposes. No vote is necessary. If needed, Ms. Costa will answer any questions from the Board of Education and public. Feel free to call her in her office. Oh, this is a second discussion section of our agenda. Would anyone like to discuss anything further at this time? No. Okay. We're going to continue with our second audience to visitors. I will not reread the statement, but if anyone would like to come up from the audience. favor? Thank you very much, everyone.